you're trying
love
to
hearing
talk
about
to
that.
us, no, we just can't hear you because it gets muted as you
Yeah,
come in. So definitely chat in.
got to use the chat.
All right, let me see how this. Oh, there we go. I just did that. 1 cup, not
Yeah, good
two.
job,
That's all right.
Allison. All right.
Just so you can, so
It's
people, all right,
highlighted.
highlighted so we can at least remember,
Yeah.
just in case. Perfect. Mhm. And then Alyssa, when you're ready, I will let you have your other, um, you don't have to have it on now at all, but your other camera when you're, but you've got, we'll give you a 7-minute warning.
She's trying to get Harold out of the way.
Mm.
I didn't say hi to you, John. I see that you're still on. Are you going to join us for class tonight? Learn some lentil bean cooking? Oh, maybe he's, I don't know if he's as a attendee. No, he's our organizer. He can talk if he wants. Do you, Heather, you have the little link though, right? For me,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have to worry.
Mm-hmm.
That's good because
Yeah.
me, I'm
Yeah.
hard enough for me to try to move the slides and take them up and down, let alone add a link. I don't know if I could do that. Love seeing everyone joining in. If you're here for our culinary medicine class, you are in the right place. Time for another fun night with Chef Alyssa and Heather, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Let us know where you're joining from, and
Hmm.
if this is your first class or you've been here before, go ahead and put that in the chat.
Yeah, what island? Is this your first class? I love it. It's gorgeous out here right now, although I'm over on the Big Island and the fog is here.
Oh, the fog is
It's
really bad
awful.
today.
It's
Oh,
pretty bad. Yeah, it's probably blowing to
like,
all the
oh,
islands.
yeah. Yeah, it was a
Mm.
very red sunset last night,
Hmm.
but then today, yeah, you can't even see across the highway. It's like just thick.
Yep. It
Uh,
definitely throws me because every time I look up, I think, oh, maybe there's going to be rain because it's got
yes,
that.
I thought that
And
too.
then I'm
I
like,
was like,
oh, I'm like, oh no, that's just fog.
it's like, is it rain or no? It's just fog.
Yeah.
Oh, Mother Nature is busy.
Yeah, I know. And then if you can't chat in if you're driving, definitely be safe.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope everybody can, they have chat function,
Yeah,
right?
can you guys chat
I
in, or one
hope
of you guys, can you chat in and see? I want to make sure one of you guys wouldn't mind just chatting in hi or hello. Our system kind of has changed a little. I'm hoping you guys have the ability. Let's see. I'm hoping you can chat. If not, I'm going to chat hello, see if anyone chats back to me. Oh, I
Oh,
see
I see.
someone.
We're all
Good.
excited. Ooh, I see
I
someone.
know, Heather, thank you. And had the other Heather, not Heather's like, oh, how does she know I'm joining? As I said, and Heather's here too. Perfect. We want to make sure you have, even though we can't hear your voice. All right. Welcome. Another Maui Heather.
Yay. All
We'll take
right.
it. Waikoloa, you're getting
Yes.
it nice. Yeah, it's, the way this is set up, just because we have invited, there's a lot of people that get invited to this class. So if everyone had their microphone or the cameras were on, it would be very hard to manage that.
A little
So you guys,
disruptive.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you have to warm up your fingers. If you're on a computer, I know it's easier, but I'm hoping that you guys have it down. I'm going to close all my other distractions, turn off those phones of mine, Heather, and just be here.
Good reminder for all of us, right? To
Yes,
just be present, be here now, get the most you can out of the next 1 hour together. No, it's always tempting
exactly.
to try to multitask, especially at the end of the day, right? And, send off an email, check this, check that, while we're kind of half listening to something else. And, just look around you and see if there's just one thing that we can, you know, close down, put to the side for just the next little bit. And, likely it will be there for you at the end of the hour.
Exactly. So if you're just joining in now, we're going to get started in a few minutes. Your microphones have been muted coming in, so please find that chat maybe on your, I'm going to just turn it to the next, I think the toolbar here, you'll see a toolbar, not the camera, but there's one that looks like a little text box and that blue arrow. It should open up a chat on the side, chat in hello, let us know where you're joining from. If this is your first class or you've been with us for a while, we'd love to know. Or can they even do the emojis? Like, I love your
Yeah,
question
you
that you
can get
ask our other
fancy.
class.
You can
Yeah,
get fancy with an emoji and
how you're feeling. Like right now, are you feeling
see?
excited? Are you happy? What's your mood? I don't know what the upside down happy face is supposed to be. Is that like I'm just kind of crazy, not sad? I don't know. See, I'm so old school. I don't even know what half the emojis mean, right? Here, I'll do this one. Oh, it didn't even come. There we go. It takes a minute. All right, we got some Big Island folks. Although in Volcano, you probably have really clear weather right now because it's all the fog
Because
is
it's all
blowing this
blowing into the
way.
rest of us.
Exactly.
Oh,
So, all
hi,
right.
Akira.
That's
Oh.
mine. That's who we got to have fun. They'll disappear, I promise. But
Funny.
I'm a stickler. And then you could always, I guess, can I? Oh, I don't know. Can you I can always take it off if it's bothering people. I can go like that. But that's the way I was feeling a moment ago. I'll blame it on the fog.
The
But I'm
Vogue.
excited. Yeah, very clear. Yes. I know. It's because it's all that the air is over here. But the volcano, it's just kind of doing its thing in volcano, like in its place. It's not flowing far, so it's just kind of making some air for us. So, all right, I know people are just joining in and I want to say welcome. And I'm going to just take that extra minute, Heather, just because I want to give every extra moment to our chef. So what do you think? Do you think I can? Oh, 5 o'clock. I'm jumping in. What do you say? You guys ready to get
We are
going?
nothing if not
I
timely.
know.
So, yes.
My grandfather would be very, very proud of me. So welcome to everyone. If you're just joining in for culinary medicine, we're glad you joined us. I want to introduce the people that are on the line with you. So you're like, who is doing this class? I want to take a moment and first just introduce our amazing chef Alyssa, who's a personal chef with over 25 years experience. She combines great flavors, good nutrition, and we're so excited that she comes to us once a month to help us figure out what we're going to do next and how we're going to get a little more plant-based. My name is Allison. I'm over on the Big Island. Heather is over in Maui. The two of us
Hello.
are lifestyle coaches and work in the lifestyle medicine department, and we're really glad that you are here to join us. And we're hoping during this time together that we're going to spark your interest and curiosity and maybe learn a little bit more about cooking and making more whole food, plant-based foods. Does that sound right, Heather? Are you in?
It sounds good.
Now, I like to have this up on the screen because a lot of times people are saying, why do we have to go whole foods? And all these classes are telling me to get more plants on my plate. And part of the reason is that this type of diet shows that you can really prevent and reverse some chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and coronary artery disease. And it's such a big deal to be eating more whole foods. And we like to think of whole foods as this idea of food in the closest way that it was grown. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds. Just saying it makes me hungry, Heather. The idea is we want to minimize that processed foods, those refined sugars, those white flours, and those animal-derived foods. While changing your eating style might seem a little daunting, this type of eating can be summed up with the words you see on the screen. Michael Pollan, he's a great American author and journalist, and he coined this phrase, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And most people know that vegetables are really good for them, but you'd be surprised at how few are really eating them. And we want to break that barrier and make you really connect into this idea of how delicious vegetables can be. So we hope that you are going to have a good shift in mindset or feel more excited as we get started. And if you wouldn't mind, Heather, would you put in the chat? We want to share a link with you if you get really curious about that, about a video series that Stanford School of Medicine put together, and it's called Food and Health. And we really encourage you to check it out. It's a series of 17 videos and it ranges in length, and it'll give you some more on plant-based eating. Okay, so I just want to take a moment to briefly touch on the handouts that were included in your email when you logged in. One of them was this healthy plate. Some of you might be familiar with the old school way when we used to have that pyramid that we all grew up on, but we've changed it. We have this plate, and when you look at this plate, you look at it, and there's a lot of beautiful color looking back at you. It's divided into 3 parts, and if you noticed, half of this plate is dedicated to vegetables, making it the star of the plate. And you might also notice on one corner the quote, meat is not included as one of the food groups. Instead, it says protein, which can include plant-based proteins like beans and lentils and tofu, and that's what we're going to be focusing on in this class. So you do have this plant-based healthy plate included in your handouts. But before we just jump into cooking, if you're willing, Alyssa, what I'd like to do is just pull up the recipes so we can
Sure.
go over them. Now, for everyone, as you're listening, in the bottom of your email, it's going to look like this. This is where you're going to find those recipes. And when you click on those links, you can print up the recipes. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Chef Alyssa. I think you're starting with the red lentils, so I'm going to let
Yeah.
you go over that one first.
Okay. So we're going to start out with cooking the lentils separately. We're going to put that in the pot with some water and some turmeric, and we're going to bring it to a boil and cook it for a few minutes, about 20 to 30 minutes. And then while that's cooking, we're going to saute up some onions and spices and tomatoes and garlic, and that's going to get soft, and then we're going to combine the two of them, and then we're going to top it with some cilantro. So that is the first recipe.
And I want you guys just realize, don't feel overwhelmed with anything. I know there's a range of people attending tonight, and for some of you, you may be like me, like I'm not the greatest cook, and others of you might be able to do this with your eyes closed. Realize you have the recipe, and she's going to really show you how to do it. Okay, so that's recipe 1. And then we made a little change here. There was an error on this one, Chef. So I think you had mentioned with the rice that there was only 1 cup of the rice versus 2. So you
Yeah.
guys,
Mhm.
in your recipe, just kind of make a note where it says 2 cups of rice. You need to change that to 1. So I'll let you go over that one, Chef.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is very simple. And we're going to talk about both the recipes, the red lentil one, which is a kind of an Indian inspired soup, and this one. We're going to talk about all kinds of variations you can do if you don't have certain spices or ways of cooking it. But this one, we're going to saute onions with some spices, some cinnamon and whole cloves and cardamom seeds. And then we're going to add in some hot water and the 1 cup of basmati rice and some salt, and then cook it. It doesn't take that long, the white rice. It's kind of like when you do it in a rice cooker. So it's about 15-20 minutes. And then when that's done, you're going to put the peas on it and then just cover the lid again, because it usually take it off the heat and then let it sit about 10 minutes. So we'll just put those peas in there and let them do a little bit of cooking while it's finishing up. And then we're going to fluff it, and we're going to serve that with the dal.
Okay. And again, you guys, before I switch over, and Alyssa, we just lost your picture on your cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. No, don't have to move any of that. That's perfect. And then the last one we're going to do is the rainbow lentil soup.
Okay. So the rainbow lentil soup is it's very versatile. That's why I love this recipe, because you can just really put in whatever you like, whatever you have in the fridge. You know, you can create a really nice, tasty dish. soup-wise, very easily. So we're gonna saute again in the onions and a little bit of oil. Then we're gonna add in celery and carrots and spices and the garlic. I have soaked my lentils ahead of time. So I have some soaked and drained lentils. We'll talk about that. And these are the brown, also known as green lentils, which I think most people are familiar with. And then we're going to cook it in some water or vegetable broth or a combination. And then at the very end, we are going to season it with salt and pepper and a little bit of vinegar and add in some fresh greens when you're ready to reheat and serve.
Ooh, I'm so excited. So I am going to take this down. Now, remember, you guys have this. I want to make sure, and you guys chat in. Hopefully, you all see in the center of your screen Chef Alyssa's beautiful pot there. And I want you to realize these recipes we're sharing are adaptable to your personal taste and preference. And if you
Yes.
have questions along the way for Chef, please chat them in, and we'll make sure that we share them. And then at the end, we'll have time as well. So, Chef, I am going to hand it over to you and let you jump in with the red lentils.
Okay, all right. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want to show you the red lentils. So these are rinsed and drained. So they kind of get hard when they're rinsed and drained. Okay, they took on the shape of the straining basket. So I'm going to just wanted to show you. Usually you rinse lentils like how you rinse rice. You know, you just want to make sure that it runs clear. And if you see any kind of sticks or stones or anything in there, usually I don't. But they do say that often in recipes to just kind of keep a lookout. So I'm going to go get my water. I have 4 cups of hot water. And we're going to put this in the pot. I'm just kind of jumping ahead by heating up the water. So I've got my water and I've got some turmeric, which is also known as olena here in Hawaii, which is a root that's related to the ginger. So makes things a nice yellow color. It also can stain, so it's good to be mindful of when you're working with turmeric. Okay, and then I'm going to gently put in, I've got my heat all the way up to bring the water to a boil. And I don't know if I can do this without splashing it, but let me see if I can do it. Okay, there we go. You can put a little water in this.
I love the texture of red lentils. They really break down into such a beautiful texture.
Yes, creamy. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, these are always nice to have on hand. Wonderful to cook up at the last minute. They're so easy to cook. Okay. So, got that there. We're going to bring this up to a boil. I'm just trying to declump some of those. Usually I rinse and drain right before I cook, but because I was trying to get ready for the class, I did it ahead of time. So it kind of dried out and made that interesting dome shape. So I'm just trying to get them all softened and loosened up in this hot water. You can see it's starting to come up to a boil. I let go of stirring. And what I'm going to do just for the sake of the class is I'm going to move things to my burner behind me on my stove and then continue on. So we'll let this come up to a boil and then we'll reduce the heat, put the lid on, and I'll set the timer. And then what we're going to do is then we're going to move forward and we're going to saute up all of the things that are going to go in the lentil dal after it's cooked. Okay, there we go. You can see it's starting to bubble.
And how long are you setting the timer for?
I'm going to start it at 20 because part of this that's really, I'm going to at 20, I'm going to look at it, but also whisk some of it. So if you can whisk some of it, or you can use a stick blender, you can make it kind of the consistency a little more creamy. So 20 to 30 minutes or until it's soft.
Perfect. Thanks.
So yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just take this I'll be right back. Put this on the stove.
Now she's coming back. You guys chat in. Are you guys comfortable cooking with lentils? Is this, you could write, is this new to you? Yes, or you love lentils? Let us know where you're at so we know our
Yeah, I was
audience here.
curious too,
Yeah,
like how many people are already lentil lovers, or is this like a new territory for you?
that's a
Yeah.
new class name for the lentil lovers. I love that.
Okay.
We do have a question. Does it have this one? Does it have to be red lentils? I think this is a red lentil one,
Yeah.
but a good, yeah, this is, they have a certain texture.
The other one I would recommend if you're going to do this recipe would be the yellow lentils, which we can talk about a little bit. But you can get these; they're kind of small. They're called yellow um, mung dal. They make a really nice kind of a creamy dal too. That would be my suggestion. I guess you could make, however, that would be my first thought to say.
Just has such a good consistency, the red and the yellow. They all, I mean, that's the interesting thing about lentils. They aren't all the same. They just really have different textures. So,
Okay, so I've got excuse me, I'm just kind of watching two things. So I've got the
mhm.
burner going. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. This is light oil. I have sunflower oil here, organic sunflower oil. I'm going to a little on the bottom of the pan, add in my sliced onions, saute them. And
So
I
as this,
slice
oh,
them
yeah,
kind
oh,
of in
go
a
ahead.
half moon shape. So you can really do whatever you like, It's all, so much of the recipe is really on preference. There's a few basic things kind of to follow.
And I just was going to say to you as you're doing that, we've got people across the board, people love them, make them regularly, love curried ones, new to it. So you've got the range of people here, Chef,
Ah, okay.
our
Thank
range of lentil lovers.
you. Well, for this part, you could dice them, you could chop them. I just kind of like to have this shape in my dal. So primarily when you're sauteing onions, you're just sauteing them in a little bit of oil, getting them to be soft, translucent. You don't want to use a lot of oil. You could add a little bit of water at a time to continue the cooking process. Or no oil and just water. You can also cover it as you're going along. That'll speed things up a little bit. It's just starting to get a little brown. Once they start to get soft and translucent, then I'm going to add in the cumin. Now I have cumin seeds, which you can get. I tend to like to shop at the health markets in the bulk section. They have all the different spices. You can buy what you want, not a big, you don't have to buy big amounts. But you could also, so this is what cumin seeds look like. You could also use ground cumin. Some people might have ground cumin that might be more common in people's cupboards. Big ground cumin, maybe you would do a teaspoon ground cumin. The other option could be that's just not something you have in the cupboard. Again, we're trying to be mindful of how often you would use things, what do you have, but you could just put in curry powder. You tend to have curry powder in your cupboard, and you don't have turmeric. You could just start your lentils with the water. Don't worry about the turmeric. And then when you're doing this, you can add in the curry powder. This part. Curry powder can burn real easily. So if you're going to do curry powder, just kind of be mindful of your stirring and the heat and all of that. So I'm adding in the cumin. I'm going to bring the temperature up a little bit. A lot of times in Indian cooking, they like to have it where the cumin seeds will kind of start toasting, kind of have a certain smell. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit to bring out that essence. And then I'm going to add in the rest of the ingredients. So the rest of the ingredients are Roma tomatoes. I said 2 Roma tomatoes, which comes out to about, I find that 1 Roma tomato is about a cup. So it's about 2 cups of tomatoes. And I just like that they're nice and firm, but really you can do whatever you want. Choose whatever tomato you want. You could even use canned tomatoes. I would suggest that you would, if you do canned tomatoes that are chopped, maybe drain them. Save the liquid for something else. But that's another option. Okay. All right, this is heating up really nice. So I'm going to add in my tomatoes, my ginger, my garlic. How's the camera? Okay.
Looks great. I feel like I
Looks
I can
great.
smell it,
Okay.
right through the screen,
All
the cumin
That's
and the garlic and the
when we got the little whiffs coming up, I did an
yeah.
extra inhale. It's like smell TV.
Mhm.
You can feel it.
I'm going to
Beautiful.
increase the temperature a little bit. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about chili peppers because, you know, there's different kinds of chili peppers out there. Let me just double check, make sure my dal is. Yeah.
It's looking so colorful already, Allison, isn't it?
So I just want to, in case you don't know a lot about chili peppers, Serrano chili peppers are kind of the long and skinny ones. And then the jalapenos are a little kind of twice as fat and long. Serrano can tend to be a little hotter than jalapeno. At least that's my experience. Anybody can chime in on that one. When you want to be mindful, like you don't want super hot food, what you can do is you can take out this inner white ribbing. See how it's got the seeds and the ribs. I don't know if you see that.
Yep, you can
So
see
you
it.
can take that out, and that's kind of where all the spiciness is, the real hot stuff. So if you don't want to have really hot food, you can take that out and then just chop up the rest of your chili pepper.
Just a reminder, be careful when you pull it out with your fingers and touching your eyes. I've had that mistake a couple of times. So
Yes.
wash your hands after you've done your chilies.
Yes.
Or wear
You've probably all
gloves.
done it exactly. I'm not that good.
So I have a little bit of the chili seeds in here, but most of them I took out. So while you're sauteing this, if it gets a little sticky, you can add a little water. I'm gonna. Instead of more oil, you can just add in a little more water.
Just love all that color.
Yeah, and then you're just gonna cook this down till it gets really soft. This kind of a traditional thing that they do in Indian cooking is they make this onion, tomato, ginger, garlic, vegetable saute that they add in to the cooked whatever the lentil is. A lot of times in Indian cooking, they'll combine lentils. So circling back to the question about can you use other lentils? Sometimes I've had a dal where it would be maybe the yellow and this red, just kind of orange. And then they might use some of the green, you know, and it just makes a really nice texture and flavor.
I like that idea, the different textures.
Mm-hmm. It's really yummy. Okay, that's some chili pepper.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see it's just starting to soften up. Tomatoes are breaking down. Chili pepper.
Clear out whatever's ailing
All
you.
that spice is coming up off the
Yes.
steam, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So this is almost there. I'm thinking.
And feel
I'm
free to
going
chat
to-
in any questions, you guys, as
Yes.
this is she's kind of cooking this down. If anything's coming to mind, we're happy to pass your question along.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is so these tomatoes are soft. I'm going to put this to the side. When the lentils are done, then we'll add this in.
Perfect.
First, we're going to take some of the lentils out and whisk them, kind of thicken up the dal. We'll add this back in and then some cilantro and the salt. One of the things that salt can keep the lentils and beans in general from completely cooking. It kind of toughens the skins. So a lot of times, most often, you'll see they'll say to add the salt at the end. And if you see it and you wonder, that's kind of why. So I'm going to add the salt at the end with this.
Great tip.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see it's all kind of mushy. All right, so now I'm going to take this off the heat, take up all my empty dishes, and then we'll work on making the rice that goes with this dal. Okay?
Sounds good. And while
Out of
she's
there.
kind of, doing that, I mean, lentils are just a
Let's say, should we do lentil fun
power-packed.
facts?
I know. What are some lentil fun facts that we have, Heather? What do you feel like sharing? I mean, it's an amazing plant protein. It is just so full of heart healthy. I think it's what's in it. It's the phenols in it that help with the blood pressure and cholesterol. It supports our digestive health. It's really a fantastic. You had something that you were saying about the second meal. You have to share that.
Yeah, so they help to control blood sugar. So they have what's called a second meal effect. They're so effective at managing our glycemic index that it actually carries over into the next meal. So if you're somebody who's trying to manage blood sugars, insulin resistance, anything like that, beans and lentils are going to be your good friend. Plus they're power packed with plant protein, right? Tons of protein in there.
Great
It's a cheap
fiber.
source, right? Compared
Hmm.
to animal proteins. Like, what did you have? You had a statistic, Allison, on the
There was, it's
cost.
seven for one serving of lentils is 7 cents to like one serving of beef, which is like $1 something. And that's not even Hawaiian. That's just like a different one. So it's a really economical one. But honestly, the
Yes.
fiber, the iron, the folate, it's such a great
Yeah.
source of
It's so
nutrients.
versatile, as we can
Yeah.
see. And I know she's going to showcase all the different types of lentils as well.
Yep.
So I think you can get a lot of variety out of this one little power-packed
Yeah.
lentil. Yeah.
It's a magic. Let's think of our magic. What if the love of lentils? We're going to all be converted. All
All
right.
right, you ready?
Yep. Let's go. And this
Wonderful.
is our
Fun fact.
rice. Yep.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the basmati rice. And I personally try and find basmati rice that's grown in India. I've just found that California basmati rice just does not have the same texture. That's just my experience. So I actually happened to be in Foodland yesterday, and I found a hinode, which is a common rice company here. I mean, did you see they sell the rice? But they had a 2-pound basmati rice from India. So I thought, oh, perfect. I'm going to try this. So we'll see what it looks like. The big key with basmati rice is, when you got the good kind, or is it the grain when it cooks, it's really long and kind of fluffy. It's fun. It's fun to eat. So I've got, again, I'm going to heat up my pot with a little bit of oil, and I'm going to add in my onions, which I have chopped this time.
And it's so nice when you do this, chef, because like you use such a little amount of oil and it works. Sometimes we just glug it in because we think we need to. And I've just really noticed you put in, you don't need a lot. And I like the idea of if you have to, you can add a little bit of water to soften things. I think that just is a nice little tip. It's just
Right.
seeing you do that.
Yeah. And again, if you're really on some sort of a strict diet that you have to really have no oil, you could just plop this in with the water and the rice. You could put it all in. It just kind of changes the flavoring a little bit. So it's still doable. It's just a different technique. So I'm just showing you a more traditional technique. And this rice is called Pullao rice, which I believe, well, I'm not even going to try, but Pullao rice usually has a lot of things in it. So I'm not sure what the definition is, but usually Pullao rice can have like pistachios, and it can have dried golden raisins, and kind of different vegetables. Maybe Pullao means loaded. I don't know.
And we did have a question of why
Yeah.
not use brown rice?
You can. Just takes a little longer.
Great
Yeah,
answer.
you can definitely use brown rice. Actually have some long grain brown basmati in my cupboard, I saw today. I'm like, it's also for this cooking class, the timing, the white rice is a lot quicker. So you can do the exact same thing with the brown, and just follow. Brown is usually a 2-to-1 ratio for the water to rice. So, okay, so we got our onions going. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook it until it starts to soften. And I'm just going to add a little water.
Hey, it's working, and we feel it. Getting the steam. We're right there with you. And we can still see. We can see.
Yeah, sorry. And so then what we're going to do is we want to talk about this a little bit more. I have 4 whole cloves. If you have any cloves from the holiday season, there's 4 whole cloves. And then there's, I took a piece of a cinnamon stick. I have some cinnamon. And then this is the one some people might not be familiar with, is cardamom. Cardamom looks like this. If it's a bright green pod, it means it's fresher. I tend to keep them in the fridge, but it takes me a long time to go through cardamom. So they aren't always as green, but I know that they're as fresh as they can be by being in the fridge or freezer. This is if you ever love to drink chai. This is what's in chai, one of the main flavorings. So I'm going to take the pod and mash it with this like sriracha. And I'll show you. It has the seeds inside. And then you can kind of crush the seeds. This is, hopefully you could find it in the health market or an India market. They have an India market here in Honolulu. But it's a little expensive. I mean, but it's a wonderful flavor. You can use it in baking. So I tend to just get all.
Oh, can you use ground cardamom as well, like the pre-ground stuff, or better to use the pod?
You could. I was thinking about that because I have ground cardamom. I mean, sure, you could probably just use like maybe an 1/8. It's pretty strong, so maybe an 1/8 of a teaspoon. If you've got it, yeah, go for it. Other than buying more, right? Yeah. So, okay, so you've got your seasoning in here, and then we're going to use, basically for basmati rice, it's either like 1.5 to 2 cups of water ratio. So I would suggest, I know there's this recipe, and I did the typo on the amount of the basmati rice, but read the instructions on the package of the rice, because it really depends on the rice. And this one, it's interesting, said 1 3/4 to 1 cup. So I'm going to follow the instructions on the package and see what happens today when we get this cooked. So I'll be right back with some hot water. So we're going to increase the heat. We've got our spices in there. Don't want anything to burn. We just want the nice flavor to release. And then I'm going
They call those the aromatic spices, right?
Aromatic.
Yeah.
1 cup. Three-fourths. Bring that up. And then we're going to add in our rice and salt. And this has been rinsed. Now, a couple things I wanted to talk about, just because I'm trying to maybe it doesn't look like I'm trying to simplify, but I mean, there's other things you can add to this recipe. And so I was trying to like not add too much. But if, you know, if you don't have all of these spices, or you could always add other things you can do instead is you could add a little bit of turmeric to make it a little yellow. That's always nice. And it's an anti-inflammatory. So you could maybe do 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. If you don't have any of the cardamom and cloves and cinnamon stick. The other way you could do it is you could add like a bay leaf, or you can crush ginger. I mean, there's all different ways you can make the rice flavorful. So I just want you to not feel like you can't make this recipe because you don't have certain spices. Or you could just do cinnamon stick and cloves. So it's really all very versatile. So the
We
other
love
thing is
that.
at the very end, so it's coming up to a boil. I'm going to put the lid on wherever it is. Lid. And at the very end, this is a part we're going to add the peas right when it's cooked. But you can also, I often add some julienne carrots, really thin matchstick carrots in with this because it's so pretty with the orange and the green. So that's just something, again, I'm not trying to give you too much information, but I just want to show you can really play with this recipe. Okay, so our timer just went off.
That's great. I was going to tell you you're at about 5:30. You've got another half hour. So you got all this timing down. This is why you're the chef.
So I'm going to go move this over and then I'm going to bring the dal back. Okay. Give me a sec.
Perfect. And I like the creativity. Like, I don't think it's too much information, but that's the thing is, you know, you have a recipe, and as you start getting more comfortable, and if you don't have something, you try something a little different and do it to your taste, to what you like.
Okay, so this is what the dal looks like so far. I can bring it up closer. You can still see that the lentils are still formed. It's a little watery. And let me just move this. And I'm going to take out some of this and I'm going to whisk it. One thing to know about lentil dal is it keeps thickening after it's cooked. So even if it's a little thin, it'll keep thickening up. So just something to think about depending upon how you want the texture of your dal. Okay, so you can see if you blend it, whisk it, see how it gets kind of creamy. And
Yeah,
you
red
can,
lentils really do have that porridgey type of texture.
yeah, that's a good way to describe it. And you can pull as much of this out as you want if you want it really kind of creamy and not as much as the lentil texture. You could even pour it all in a blender and blend it and put it back in. Just giving you ideas. Blender, stick blender. So if you're going to do a stick blender, please be mindful because I've splashed myself so many times. You know, it's I don't know. It's probably kind of hard to see when I
No, we can see it. It looks good. And, you know, it's really nice to see that a whisk can really break it up. I wouldn't have thought that. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Most of us
It's
have a
just so
whisk.
soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at this point, I'm going to make sure I'm going to add in this salt. And I'm going to go get the cooked tomato onion mixture. Yum. So this is here. So we're going to add that in here.
I don't know about you, Heather. I'm getting hungry.
Oh, I'm getting hungry.
Definitely mesmerized by the
It
food.
is. It's very, I feel very calm. I
It
feel
looks very
healthy just
nurturing, doesn't
looking
it?
at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does thicken. It is true. These are the kind of things that taste good like the next day and the day after, just
Yeah.
more flavor.
Mm-hmm. And then you can just, add some cilantro here just before serving. But if you want to, you can add a little bit. You can cook it down for another 5-10 minutes. Just keep watching it, getting it just, especially if you're going to eat it right away. If you were going to take this off the pot, excuse me, off the pot, off the stove, and not eat for an hour or so, it might thicken on its own. Yeah. But it depends on how you're serving it. Serving in a bowl. We were talking earlier before class of oftentimes dal is like this texture, this consistency, and then it's served with rice and then with like naan bread or chapatis, and that kind of like soaks up all the extra, nice liquid. So it depends on how you want to serve it, what your vision is. Oftentimes you'll see recipes that will add like a squirt of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, or lime juice before serving. So that kind of brightens up the flavors. And we're going to do something similar with the lentil soup where we add a little bit of balsamic vinegar. And that just kind of pops, makes the flavors pop. So I've got it boiling again. It's a nice, colorful, I love this soup. It's dal. It's really, it's kind of soothing. This one, it's not anything extreme,
I'm definitely ready to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yum, yum. Okay. So I
All
will
right.
put this back on the stove and just put it on simmer. And then I'll bring it back when the rice is done and we will start in on our lentil soup. Anybody have any
Perfect.
questions
Right.
at this point?
That's,
I don't see any questions coming in, but if you guys do
Okay.
have questions, please feel free to chat them in. Now's a good time to ask them as we kind of prepare to put this one on the side and shift over to the soup, and then we'll round back to this one and see how it all comes together with the rice.
I really do love the fact that, look, in an hour, how you're getting three things. This is a great meal prep idea of having
Mm-hmm.
something ready. I do have a question, Chef. How does this freeze? Or what if you're making a bunch? Does it freeze well, or should you eat it? How long will it last in the refrigerator?
I've never freeze it. I've never frozen dal before.
Yeah.
I've
Or the
had
soup even?
frozen lentil soup. Okay, I'm
Hmm.
going to move this.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. I'm sure you could. I'm just not, I personally am not a big freezer fan
Yeah.
myself. I guess I would go there.
But it's nice, like the meal prep, if you make this in the
Be
beginning
good
of the
for 3 to 4
week,
days. Yeah.
yeah, and you just have something, you're busy after work, you come home, you can just make this so easily, and it's such a good way to go. But I love it. So, here you're getting another one, and all of this within an hour, made from start to finish.
All right. So here we
Oh,
go. We're going to
we did
round
have
three.
we had one
Yes.
question. Do you ever use fresh turmeric? I love fresh turmeric also.
Yes. I don't see it that often in the store. Pretty much it's just a down to earth where I see it. But yes, I do. It also depends, because I cook for people. It depends on who I'm cooking for, what they like. I do cook for myself, but a lot of times I'm eating what I'm cooking for other people. I really like is like turmeric tea. I like to do it that way.
Yeah.
Chop it up and boil it and make a nice tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do
Make it
that
that
too.
way.
Turmeric
Mhm.
tonics.
You
On
definitely have
it.
to watch your fingers for that when you're,
Oh,
you
Oh,
get
yes. I
very
have so
orange
many
fingers with the
yellow
fresh.
stains on
Yes.
my kitchen that I get
Yeah.
frustrated with because I love turmeric. I love all the properties of it, but it
Yes.
stains the washcloths, the dish towels, the counters.
yeah,
So you got to be really careful.
Use
you
those old
do.
dish
So
towels.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went for that. All right, so we're
No,
going on to our soup now.
we are. And what
Mhm.
I've got here is I've got my pressure cooker, oh, such a hard working pressure cooker. I love my pressure cooker. So I've got my hardworking pressure cooker here. I've got we're doing the number 3. We're doing a little bit of oil. This is olive oil with a little bit of chopped onions. Wait, okay, where am I? Got to move my chopped onions. And then today we have, today in this recipe, we have celery, carrots, sometimes, and tomato. Sometimes I like to use chopped yams, peeled and chunked yams. That just makes a really kind of nice to have that little sweet hit of yams in here. Radish, I love like huckleberry radish. You can chop, cut radish in, or potatoes. All of those would be just delightful in the soup. The other thing that you can do is add in some fresh basil. That's really nice at the end when you do the parsley. Some things to think about. I did start soaking these lentils a little after 12. I find that it makes them cook a little quicker. I mean, you'll see that in books, and traditionally you don't need to soak brown lentils, but I have better experience with it, and I like to soak mine. Okay, I've got my onion sauteing. I'm going to add in my celery. I'm going to add in my carrots. I always try and be mindful of when I add in the garlic so it doesn't burn. That'll be soon. And I'm going to turn down the burner. And I'm using oregano today. I really like oregano. You could use oregano, you could use thyme, you could use Italian seasoning. I think those basil, dry basil, they all go really nice. Flavor profile. I like to always use bay leaf when I make lentil soup. So I got my bay leaf. Now I'm going to add in my garlic, and then I'll add the tomatoes in shortly after with the lentils. Chopped garlic. Chopped tomatoes. And then I'm going to add in my grained lentils. I'm going to turn the temperature up a little bit then on my burner now that I've got so much in there. I'm going to show you my vegetable broth. Okay, let's get this going here. Then I've got some hot water we're going to add. And the recipe says you want to cover this about 3 inches above. Lentils will absorb water as it cooks. So I said 5 cups, right? 5. So I'm going to do 1, see how this looks. 2, 3. And then, I like to do a combination. So I always like to use a little vegetable broth for flavoring. This one, I just look for what's on sale. I think I found this one at Safeway. I have good luck at Target, wherever I find it. Sometimes it's Down to Earth on sale, Whole Foods. I don't like to do it straight because I think it's sometimes some of these are really strong flavor-wise. So I might do 1. I'm going to do 1.5. And then just add the rest of water. Sometimes I'll add like a dash of tamari or shoyu, give it a little bit of a umami flavor.
There's just something about soup that is so soothing and so comforting.
Okay, so I'm going to now, because I'm going to hold off on the salt and pepper. I'm going to hold off on the balsamic. I'm going to hold off on the parsley. And I'm not going to add in the kale. I like to do it right before I serve whoever I'm serving. So I'm not quite sure where this is going. So I'm going to hold off on the kale. And I'm just going to give it a good stir. You can see all the different things that are in here. Again, I can change up whatever you want in here. You can make them different shapes. I tend to like chunky carrots, and this is going to take about 30 minutes on the stove, but I'm going to pressure cook it at 15, which is about half the time. So I don't want it to get all soft and mushy. So
you can do it. Yeah, you can either do it with your Instapot or pressure cooker or on the stove.
Instapot,
So you can,
right,
yeah.
exactly. Okay, so I'm just going to move this. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
That's
Any
great.
questions at all? Just pretty
I
basic.
don't see anything coming in yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got a little bit, we got about 12 minutes left of class time. So that's got the base of that going.
All right.
I just have a question. When you're looking, if you're cooking it on the stove for your soup, like how much do you want to see it cook down? Would it be
This one
half or
right
no,
here.
not the dal, is that your,
This is
that's
the
the,
doll, but you
that's
dal.
see
the
how nice
dal.
and
No, I
thick
was
it got,
thinking of,
right?
yeah, I was thinking of the rainbow, just in case we don't have time for it to get all the way. Like
Well,
how?
it's really however you like. I mean,
Hmm.
I make this soup for people all the time, and some people like it more chunky and thick and stew-like, and then not as much liquid. And some people really like to have that liquid to drink, or
Yeah,
so
personal
it's
preference.
really, yes, really personal preference. Sometimes, like you got a sore throat, it's really nice to have some hot, savory liquid to drink.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
looks
this is
great.
just how I would like my my dal personally. I've got that on off. The rice just popped out, and yeah, where we might not get the yeah, good point. We might not get that soup done, huh? In time.
That's all right. You guys have the base and have how it's going. So that's,
Okay.
but that's just a good
Okay.
point. You know, some of us years ago when Instapot was really a big thing, I got one for Christmas and I have like two things I know how to make in it. So now I'm like, ooh, I'm going to try this lentil soup in there.
Oh, you're better than me. I have it, and
Yeah,
I've been afraid of
right?
it.
Don't be afraid. I know because
Ah,
pressure cookers was something that not a lot of people are comfortable with, but I love it. You can do it. You can use it.
So,
Ah,
so
look at
this is the
that.
rice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it smells wonderful, and it's
Yeah.
nice and long. Uh, Maybe I should just show you that real quick before I
yeah.
put
Yeah.
and what the other thing I was going to say is, when you serve it, I like to put a little cilantro on it. But do
Yeah.
you see how long the grains are?
Yeah.
Uh, they're like an inch long, which is kind of fun. Uh,
Wow.
That looks so good. I can just picture those two together. I am really ready for this doll.
I'm just going to put this in,
Yeah.
put it on the top, let it sit and
Yeah.
do its final little steaming. And then I will serve it with the dal with a little more cilantro on it.
Great.
Let's
We
see
did
what
have
else.
we had one question come in about can you use bell peppers instead of tomatoes? And I'm guessing
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
yes, because I know
that,
you're pretty
that
versatile with things, but
I do bell peppers in the soup a lot. The
Mhm.
red lentils. Sorry, I completely forgot on that. Yeah, red bell peppers are great.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I do as much bell peppers as the tomatoes. 1 cup, maybe. Whatever you like, really. It's sometimes I put zucchini, but I don't really like soggy zucchini, so
Yeah.
I go back and
Yeah.
forth on that one. Hold on, I got the pressure cookers going.
Did we talk through the lentils already, Allison?
We
The
did.
different we
Oh,
did,
oh,
yeah.
the different kinds. Well, a little
Yeah, the
bit,
little
but
Oh yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
let
we
her
didn't
finish
talk about
though.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can show us that and
just
then
while that's
finish it up.
finishing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the I'm gonna just take them off. So these are the lentils that went into the soup. So those are the brown, also known as green lentils. Can you see it pretty good? Should I
Yep.
go higher?
No,
Or?
that's
Yep.
perfect. Those are great in
Okay.
salads too.
So yeah, you know, you can get these like in a bag at Safeway and other grocery stores. You know, cook them up, or in the bulk section of the health markets, or in packages like at Whole Food. This is the red one that we made the dal. Sometimes they come a little bigger. Sometimes these are tiny, more tiny, compact red. There's also masoor. They call them masoor. You can also get several of these at the India market. This would be India market. If you are near some sort of Asian or Indian market, that would be one. Um, oh, these ones, the red lentils I just showed you, this is the red lentils with their skin on. And they make a wonderful, wonderful, I like to do like sloppy joes with this, or that barbecue one with the eggplant. What was that recipe? The barbecue
Oh,
with
the
the eggplant.
barbecue
I think it was vegan
lentils.
lentils
Yes.
floppy
Yeah.
joes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two are, they're really nice with this one. Because it kind of is a little more firmer texture, but it's firmer than the green one, than the one that's in the soup. So that's the red one with the skin on. And it's called brown. Well, actually, okay. So I guess we should call that green, because this from Palusi Farms, these are called brown lentils. Hold on, let me check. I bought the lentils from Safeway a while ago. Let's see what
But
the
I do want to
package
have
called.
you give a chance to plate your food before we end too. I don't
Yeah.
want you to, yeah.
So these are called, the ones from Safeway that I'm using in the soup are
Hmm.
just called lentils.
Nice. We like
So,
that.
yeah. Okay, so we have these ones called brown. Okay, let me go back to, then there's these one called black beluga. They're really tiny,
Wow.
beautiful. There's also another black one. It's got a different shape that they use in an Indian dal from northern India called dal makhni, um, with kidney beans kind of combination. But yeah, the black lentils are really nice. Again, different kind of flavors. And
Mhm.
then this one,
Can you put it a little
is,
more under the cam? There
yeah,
you go, right there.
this one is called Puy, Puy lentils. They're
Mm,
French, and they're great for like when you have a lentil salad.
that's what I was
I
thinking
make
about.
like a cabbage. I think we've done it in this class. A French lentil salad with cabbage and capers, and you can do Kalamata olives and arugula, all that kind of stuff. This one is a really nice. It holds, like I said, holds its shape. Uh, and you would get that maybe more in the gourmet section. Again, it's in the health markets in the bulk bin. And then the last one here is the yellow dal, which would be in the Indian market. Or I also have seen this at Down to Earth. This is one of my favorites. I really love this one because it's just, to me, it's kind of got an eggy kind of a, I don't know. It's really soothing to me, and it thickens up really nice. And again, sometimes I combine these two and make, like, you could totally make this red lentil dal that I made um, with these two combined. Okay,
Fantastic. Well, we're going to
that
give
was
you the
too much.
no, it's perfect. The last few minutes to at least plate up the
Okay,
doll for us.
yes, I will.
Because that just looks so beautiful. Don't burn yourself.
Yeah,
Keep whatever you need. Don't worry about any of that. We want safety here. Although I am
Yeah.
going to, yeah, that's really exciting. Are you guys, I'm hoping you guys watching are getting
Is it feeling
motivated to make,
doable?
yes, it's
Yeah.
feeling like something you might try. And the thing I do like at the health food stores is you can, when they're in bulk, you can buy a little and try them. And, they do, you can
yeah,
try different ones. It's so many versatile ways to make lentils.
yeah. Doesn't break the bank.
Yes.
Yep.
Lots of different flavor profiles, lots of different textures, just a great versatile
Okay, let's see
bean.
here now. So I'm gonna do this in a
Yeah.
bowl. Let's see, where's my rice?
You deserve a good bowl of dal when you're done with all
Yes.
of this. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fluff it a little bit more. Fluff in those
Wow.
Yeah.
those peas, and you can pull out the cardamom and cinnamon if you so desire, or you can just pluck it out as you eat it.
Yeah.
I'm personally don't. I usually pluck it out as I eat it. Okay, that's a good amount of rice. It's amazing how much 1 cup of rice makes, you
Right?
know?
I know.
Exactly. I was just thinking that. Look at how much food that made, and it looks so good.
And even the lentils, right? A little bit
Yep.
of lentils makes a whole
Goes
big
a
pot of
Yeah,
food, right?
that's what I mean. You do look in 1 hour, the things that got made, it's a great like meal prep thing to do for your week. Have it for lunch, have it for dinner, share it with the family.
And I like
And
this idea of getting it in the bulk bins if you want. If it's
Yes.
kind of foreign, it's new, you don't want to make a big investment. That's a great way to just kind of
Yeah.
dabble in some of this, experiment, have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Beautiful. Exactly. And as she's showing and plating this up, if anyone is having to go, our next session is going to be the March 27th. That's our fourth Thursday. And we're going to be doing, we call it Magic with Mushrooms. This is a repeat favorite for a lot of people learning to do some
Mm-hmm.
great mushroom recipes. Um, Chef Alyssa, you just make everything look doable, beautiful. I want
oh,
you to be
thank you.
my personal chef. I wish I lived on Oahu and can hire you. Wow. So
Oh, look
yes, you
how
make it,
beautiful.
that is just gorgeous. And I want
Okay,
to,
so this
oh,
is round one. We hopefully,
yeah,
yeah, lentil soup's not going to
yep,
make it. I'm sorry, but
that's
you
okay.
could
But I
take a
want to
picture
add,
and you
yeah,
could post it or something.
yep.
I
And
will.
I'm just going to add you into here right now so people can see our beautiful chef and her food. Thank you for making this great food. And yes, as you can imagine, maybe you can also just let us know. So when the soup is kind of right at the end, that's when you would add in the kale. That's when you would add in the
The
spice, the end,
parsley,
the
salt,
parsley.
pepper.
Yep.
If you like, I sometimes add apple cider vinegar instead of balsamic.
Hmm. I think that camera decided to stop, so we're just going to have you right there. You can put that down now, and we can just have
Yeah,
you on there.
yeah, but whatever, if you know, it could be, if you, whatever vinegar you have in the house, I tend to do apple cider or balsamic. Uh, I don't think I've ever done lemon, but the other thing, if for any reason you are into preserved lemons, I've been having a lot of fun with preserved lemons. And you could add a preserved lemon in that lentil soup, kind of what you were talking about, Heather, right? You have a lemony lentil soup that you're
Mm-hmm.
making.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. Does that ever
Yeah.
really changes things?
Yeah, I've learned adding a little bit of citrus to some things at the end
Mhm.
really brightens it up and
Yeah.
elevates it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
So
So,
truly appreciate your time, appreciate everyone who joined in with us. We hope that you have some motivation to try some more great plant-based foods, get half that plate vegetables, find that the protein doesn't always have to be meat. We're not saying some people are all plant-based, some of us aren't, but there's a way to always incorporate more. And Chef Alyssa, you make it reasonable, doable, and it looks
Inspiring.
affordable and inspired. So I hope everyone's feeling
thank
as
you.
inspired as we are.
Yeah, we
So
got
Thank
lots
thank
of
you
you.
people
all
saying
for
they're
joining
ready
us.
to try it.
Yes.
They're excited, they're motivated, and they're hungry.
And they're thanking you for your culinary skills and
Uh,
information. We're very, very lucky to have Chef Alyssa as
yes.
part of our Kaiser Permanente family. So
Oh,
thank you so much. Have a great evening. And
and we hope to
thank
see
you,
you next
Chef.
month.
Yeah,
Yes, and let us know how it goes with trying it. We'd love to hear
exactly.
from you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know you're gonna have some good food. I'm telling you, Heather, we gotta, I mean, I could, when you were, I felt it just coming through when you were showing all of that. I really want a bowl.
yeah, those
So,
cardamom pods and the
yes,
clove.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
all right.
good immune boosting
Oh,
spices too.
uh-oh. Somehow you're still muted for some reason. We can't hear you, Chef. Hang on.
Mm.
Let's see what happened. Let's see if we can, I wonder if I can unmute. Good that it ended
Yeah,
right
okay.
now. There you
Yeah,
go.
there we
Now we can
go.
hear
Yeah,
you.
I want to just add one more thing. You know, in this
Yeah.
lentil soup, one of the things I was going to say is sometimes I like it a little more tomatoey. So you can add like a spoonful of tomato paste, or if you had by any chance tomato sauce in your fridge, you could like do like, you know, a quarter cup of tomato sauce, or sometimes I'll even put pasta sauce. Put a dollop of pasta sauce in the
Great
soup
idea.
and just kind of brightens things up a little bit. So, you know, there's just all kinds of ways you can play with the lentil soup.
No, I am
Yeah.
so excited to try this. You're going to make me look good. This is the thing. You make it so I'm like, I can do this. I know I can do this. I'll have to take a picture, send it to you when I'm
Oh yeah,
done.
I wanted to get a
Yeah.
picture of the
So,
food.
yeah. All
All right.
right.
Well, bon
Have,
appetit.
yeah, bon appetit and goodbye to everyone. And no, we're glad you joined us, but and have a good time, have a good night, and healthy
Thank you.
eating, healthy, happy eating. Okay, bye-bye,
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
everyone. Good night, Chef
Aloha.
Alyssa.